things start now to work on it?
Things are shifting all across this real estate market. Ladies and gents, hope you all are doing good. You guys great today? All right, well, we are happy to have you out, and we are going to get this party started. I know you guys are just ready to get and enjoy some of the sun and the gorgeous day, so thank you all for coming out. It's definitely a pleasure. Let me have a seat here. We've got some amazing people in the house, and we are going to be talking commercial real estate, you guys. That's why you're here, right? Yes. All right. And my friends over here and as well on the screen, we're going to dive into them. I wanted to first and foremost talk about our sponsors and thank them, because without them, none of this is possible. First and foremost, Home Experts of Indiana. They do residential inspections, and you know what? They even work with you on those due diligence periods in commercial real estate. So they're back there. Meet Shane if you haven't talked to him already, but amazing group of inspectors. Also, our Crew Property Service, they are dynamite on contractors. I love their communication that they do, because if I need them in a pinch, I could reach out to them and say, hey, can you help me? And more than likely they do. They are awesome, they are on point, and they are here. So get to meet those guys in the back. And of course, we've got Parker Mortgage here today. They brought a fantastic gift basket. So those surveys that Michelle's been holding out and giving you guys, definitely bring us some feedback, you guys. We always appreciate feedback, and without those feedback, we can't get better and stronger. So fill those out, and then Michelle's going to collect them at the end, and then that puts you in that drawing for a little gift basket. Plus, the Crew Contracting Group, they have brought in some gift certificates, some burger places, so get some free dinner. Why not, right? If you guys are looking for great videographers, we've got both our visuals behind the cameras. They are awesome at everything they do. And then, of course, where we're at here, gang. We're at Bar Louie here in Carmel, so thank you, Bar Louie, for everybody hosting our event tonight. We certainly appreciate that. You guys ready to start? Yeah. Woo-hoo! All right, good energy, huh? I like that stuff. Well, cool. Let me introduce our panelists today. To my right, we're going to go ladies first. She has been in the business over 25 years, so she started when she was 3, and she has a ton of experience in whether it's residential, commercial, doing it all. It's amazing. A top agent, with Keller Williams in the Ohio Valley region. You do leases, you do sales, you do pretty much anything at this day and age, right? Knocking it out. And she is the current executive director of the Keller Williams Commercial Division. It's Sharon Thompson. Please welcome her. Just next to her is a gentleman that is in the local market. You might see him on social media. He's got over 15 years of tremendous experience in real estate in itself. He has a successful management in commercial projects. When he's not doing residential or commercial for that matter. He's a family man. He's got a beautiful family with him, takes care of his kids, does some great things over the summer. He was just telling me some stories. He's the owner of WKRP Indy Real Estate, Curt Whitesell. And to the other side on the screen today, joining us from California with over 20 years experience. He has a long history of service to the industry with the board and leadership positions. He used to work on Wall Street, and he was in the brokerage and portfolio management side of things. He's the current president of the Asian Real Estate Association of America, and he is the president of eXp Commercial. It's Mr. James Huang. Welcome him, please. My friends, I wanted to hear from you guys. We want to hear more on your story of what it takes, what you've gotten into, and how things have progressed for you through the years. So Sharon, if you would, take the floor. Tell us a little bit about your adventure in real estate.
Sure. So like many people, my adventure in real estate didn't start in real estate. I actually started out originally in counseling and directed a counseling center in Boston. And my husband and I wanted to go on an adventure, and we went and lived for 1 year in New Delhi, India, and I worked with the American Embassy. And when we came back, my husband said, well, what do you want to do? And he said this on a particularly frustrating day with two very active kids, toddlers. And I said, well, I just was reading in the Indy Star that some of the most effective and successful people in real estate are second career women with a background in counseling or social work who have an interest in business and they do really well in sales. And my husband said, oh, that's great. What would you need to do? I said, well, the article said that I should be licensed in real estate. He said, well, what do you do? And I said, well, there's actually a class tonight in the next town. He handed me my backpack and he said, I'll see you later. And so at the end of the month, I was licensed and started selling properties. My first open house, I turned into a meme. People in 5 years, I said, why do you wait? And so they came back and bought the building. So anyway, so I ended up as the rookie of the year in Boston working part-time while I had little kids at home, and I thought, oh, maybe this is a thing for me. And that was in Wayland, Massachusetts. Then 10 years later, after I'd done work there, I came back to Indiana, which is where I'm originally from, to be closer to family. And real estate in Massachusetts, everybody uses an attorney. It's a very high stakes, very competitive transaction because there's very limited real estate. And so I thought, it's really more similar to commercial real estate here. And so I have done real estate that's mostly commercial ever since I've been back in Indiana. And then I worked with another company when I first came here, and I heard that Keller Williams had actually decided to start a commercial division, and they wanted to use a lot of the principles that they were known for. They wanted it to be an equitable place for all people to learn. They wanted to do profit sharing. They wanted to develop women and men, and I thought, I think that's going to be a better place for me than where I've been, and I've been with them since.
Look at that.
That's my story.
That's beautiful. I love that
Thank
story.
you.
That is what a great transition.
I was not the rookie of the year. How do I follow that?
Yeah.
In 2008, I lost my job managing real estate for a group, and just out of desperation, I started my own brokerage. I knew that I was already doing it for someone else, so why not do it? In that process, I didn't have a car or a, hi Manzel, how you doing, buddy? I didn't have a car, I didn't have anything, nobody knew me as a realtor, so I decided to only list real estate on State Road 32 in Westfield so that I could walk or ride a bike there. So that's how my niche came about. There's no smartness to my niche. That's where I could get. So I have some fun memories of showing up to listing appointments all sweaty and my bike around back, and shuffling, borrowing my parents' car for the first few months while I figured out life. So, but I started a full service brokerage. As many of you know, there were not many commercial deals, or my clients weren't buyers at that time. So I sold anything I could. And then as commercial came back, I was lucky enough to have fallen into this wonderful promised land called State Road 32 in Washington. And so it came back quicker and better and stronger than anything else would have. I jumped right back in. And so today, while I have a full service real estate company and I do friends and family residential, I do mostly commercial land and building rep in Westfield. So I've been doing that since 2008. My team is me, and there's 4 people that work with me, but it's really just me and a team around my business. I have 3 assistants, and I keep them pretty busy, and so that's it. So I think it's a blast.
That's awesome.
But I'm still not the rookie of the year. I don't know why you had to say that.
I was going to say,
I wouldn't be able to beat
It was
that.
a couple years ago. It was my first year in real estate, and that was a couple years ago.
I was going for veteran of the year.
Hey, great stories, and that's what hey, everybody's got a different way to begin. So that's what I love, you guys sharing that stuff. James, let's turn it over to you. Tell us a little bit about your story, sir.
Jason, first I said, I love this. I love hearing a story. I actually feel that I'm there, but I hope one day to get out to Indiana. So it's great to hear the stories, hopefully shaking everyone's hand, having a drink together. So my thing is also, I fell into commercial real estate. I studied biochemistry, so I thought, there's only one reason you study biochem, but instead I went to Wall Street to do finance. And then when I moved back to Los Angeles, I went into a private equity DST firm. So I worked when it was called TIX, which I can tell we have some old timers, so we all knew TIX was not a good name, as we went forward. But I used to work under Bob Rabati and Mark Paul, who owned the largest TIX syndicator in the country. And as I was analyzing, putting the portfolio together, I was like, I'm looking at all this business from this one company, Marcus and Millichap. So I said, you know what, Bob, I'm going to try to be my own broker. Don't want to be a W-2 anymore. Want to be 1099, an entrepreneur. And I want to try to cut my teeth. He says, Jim, it's not for everyone, but why don't you try it? If it doesn't work out for you, why don't you come back? I said, you know what, let me try it. And when I went to M&M, not always the best place, but the best training place, I think, to learn commercial real estate, cutting my teeth, learning the business of commercial brokerage. So I went to M&M. First year, I said, this is fantastic. Building relationships, unfortunately, making all those cold calls, building those relationships, right? Working on all those listing proposals and really following up with everyone. So doing that, I really enjoyed it. I was at M&M for 5 years before I separated and formed my own brokerage company, and really taking what I've learned along the way from, I would say, the 90s up to 2000s, and said, look, I wanted to create my own firm. We bought a bunch of buildings. We created our own property management. We built our boutique full service firm in Los Angeles and in Southern California. So it actually helped out. But what I found out running a brokerage company was you almost lost your way of why you did it, because I wanted to grow just my team. I liked the syndicate. I obviously had to run a property management firm. We did our own finance. And as you kept growing, more brokers, if you did it right, wanted to join your company. There was a point where we had about 180 commercial brokers. We did about $2 billion in sales. I mean, we were on the map. But the problem is the success made you lose yourself, because now you're managing, you're handling, you're overseeing, right? And unfortunately, as all of us that were broker owners, we had to go to depositions, right? We had responsibility for all the agents that were under our license. So, as from there, I had to get other partners, putting them in, and all of us, I could see, were old timers. 2007 and 2009, boy, that told us and woke us up in a big way, because of the amount of expenses. And this is kind of relevant to today's time right now, is I had basically a $450,000 nut that I had to cover every month. And everyone knew after the Bear Stearns Lehman Brothers meltdown, there was no business to be done, right? There was a lot of changes in the market, recalibration. And from there, you take a deep look into yourself about what can you do, who can you be, why am I doing this, and realize it wasn't always about money, but is there a better way? So going fast forward, got through the recession with I wish I would have bought a bunch of single family homes instead of saving my brokerage. I'm just being honest, looking back hindsight, right? But then from my BRC's days in Los Angeles that I founded, I got to partner with the legendary Rand Sperry for a second company. What do I do with my company getting us through the recession? So I did partner with Rand Sperry to open up his second franchise firm, Sperry Commercial Global Affiliate, which was great, right? Learning the franchise business, scaling it, learning and mentoring under a legend in the industry, to a point where 5 years later, EXP hit their radar to run a commercial brokerage. And I'll just let everyone know, full service is correct. So when I came over to run EXP, I said, I don't want to just grow a commercial brokerage company doing transaction, leasing, and yes, we do business opportunities, but I needed to grow the full service of the company, capital markets, asset facility management, valuation, and other corporate services, because those are the higher dollars, but they also help the more stickiness of getting very pedigree commercial brokers to join the firm. So really happy to be here and share my journey and story and whatever tidbits I could help everyone else with.
Jim, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that story as well. So, as we look at it, we're here, things are shifting all across this real estate market, whether commercial, residential, all that stuff. Sharon, give us a little insight from your perspective. What's going on in today's commercial real estate market?
I think the residential market and the commercial markets tend to run with a little different timeline, a little different ways that the market hits them. I think a lot of commercial real estate are businesses with a long view. 5 years or 10 years of ownership is a short time, while for a lot of homeowners, 5 or 10 years is kind of the whole enchilada. So for a lot of commercial properties, they're still moving forward. Interest rates have risen, but a lot of the commercial properties also have a long view. We're still well below the average interest rate. So they are still moving. What I also see is there's a lot of cash buyers. That there are a lot of people that are reassessing what they do. They see some values for what they can do. There are also a lot of people that I see, COVID has made a lot of people reflect on, do you want 3 offices or 4? Or 2? So we have a lot of people kind of changing the size of their office space. We have other people that are thinking, you know, do you have 4 retail spaces or do you consolidate and have a hybrid? So we're seeing kind of a resizing of a lot of things. I don't see yet that the market has changed. Even I looked at the CoStar update for the quarter and their prospectus. They are saying, be careful. They're seeing it could go either way, but the tea leaves are still not clear what will happen. So I would say right now I'm on the fence, but I'm really busy.
Good, good, excellent, well put. Curt, what's your 2 cents on
So I think
the market?
I sell a lot to developers and investors, and I think it's all opportunistic. It's just who has the money at the time. And so as a transactional job, I'm always looking to who's can get the debt, who's looking for this opportunity currently. Is it, can you buy cheap or can you find tenants? Can you not, do you have to rent? So the developers are actually doing really well right now, because a lot of the buyers or the owner occupants, the interest rate's too high, or the down payment's just, it's hard to buy, or there's no inventory. So to me, I think the opportunity just moved a little bit. It's over here. And then in 2 years, it'll be over here. And so with me, as I chase developers and investors, I'm just constantly looking at who's able to buy and who's serving the commercial market at this time. So I think it's as strong as ever for whatever group you're chasing. If you're out trying to lease office space right now, you've probably got a lot of hobbies. And, you know, and same with land. I mean, I sell expensive land. It's slow, but there's also a lot of people with 1031 money, so you can go chase that now. So yeah, it just moved a little bit, but I think it's as strong as ever. I bet the same dollar amount is spent as years past, just different.
Good. Good. I appreciate that. Yeah, great insight. And then, Jim, with your agents, are you seeing a lot of the same successions? Are you seeing a lot of the same trends from your point of view?
So exactly right. You know, the good thing with commercial real estate, even though we are overall seeing a slower down in transaction, there are always opportunities in commercial real estate, right? So we're seeing transactions lower, but we're seeing leasing because of what happened with COVID. Right, the remote working offices are being recalibrated right now, and there's a lot of changes within the market. So with that, leases are up. We do see different product type. We all say the 4 food group, multifamily, retail, office, industrial, right? The multifamily, industrial still strong, maybe some changes in different markets. But the good thing is, you know, there's always a product type, and exactly right. Who are you chasing? One day it's up, one day it changes, one day it's hot, one day it's not. But there are ways of collaborating, working with experts to maximize your returns, because within this commercial real estate world, we're not experts of everything, but through our network and friendships, we become very the go-to people, and through our friendships, we can start putting many deals together. So that's the fun thing about commercial, and absolutely right, money drives, and we are seeing a lot of capital, dry powder on the side, opportunistic people watching broken projects, development projects, not able to recapitalize because CMBSs, because commercial are all short-term debt, that there's these opportunities probably 2023, 2024, what are you going to do? And people are testing, right, and looking around for JV partners, trying to recapitalize with LP partners, limited partners, and trying to put the money together, knowing that things are changing, right? Maybe up, maybe down, but we are all like looking at possibly something getting worse 2023, 2024. So we're just keeping ready, keeping our eyes open, and really networking with everyone here to just hear it, watch the tea leaves, check out CoStar, reading economists. I would always say look at NREIT, right? So you can follow what the REITs are doing. Those are good forward indicators. The stock market, residential are more forward versus what we're doing in commercial. So kind of helping everyone guide themselves and their clients, but I always say tap into experts within that product type specialty.
Dynamite. Love it. Now, Jim as well as Sharon, you guys said that I word, the interest rates, and whether you're residential or commercial, they're a hot topic right now. So I wanted to kind of get your guys' opinions. You said they're higher. What are you seeing? Because, so let me take you back. I'm a residential guy. I don't dabble a lot in commercial, just to be transparent, you know, and so what's a good interest rate? What's a low? What's a high? Where are you guys? What do you think?
Well, I think we've been trained to like cheap money. And most of the very, very successful multi-generational developers and commercial players did not make their wealth off 3 and 2% interest. Commercial real estate is a pass-through industry, so they're able to eat higher interest rates, they're able to eat higher construction costs, push it, but so I don't think where our interest rates are stop business. I think we just got to go back in our head and correct it. So I think residential, it's totally different. You guys are dealing with people that have a budget, their own budget, it's their livelihood and things like that. But with the commercial, it's just a business. And when the rent accounts for such a low amount of companies' overall expenses, they can absorb the developer or the investor's higher interest rate much better than you and I can when we're buying a house.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep, definitely. Yeah, very good deduction.
Yeah.
What do you have to add?
So I would just say sometimes with properties I list, I will actually do an example of a potential for purchasing it in a commercial loan and what the payments would be. And oftentimes in the market, it's similar to what you would be renting. So I don't see that the interest rates stop people in commercial as much as they may in residential. But I mean, they're rising. I think the question is, you know, where will they be over a longer period of time? But with a longer view, it's still below normal.
There you go.
It's not too bad.
That's a good conversation to have then with your clients, obviously, especially as they look long term.
Yep.
Right? I love it. Good.
Oh, actually, and I'd add one other thing too. Hopefully when you buy something, you want to have a property that has kind of a more stable value. That you don't want to buy something with a low interest rate because it's on sale, you buy it, and then you find out, oh, this wasn't really the value I thought it was. So something about having more of the average interest rates means the house you're buying or the real estate you're buying is more what's a normal price at a normal rate. So for a lot of people, that's usually wise ways to invest.
Yeah.
So.
Love it. Thanks for that addition. There you go. James, I'm going to swing it back to you here. And this is always a touchy subject here. And so should commercial agents sell residential? And on the flip side, should residential sell commercial? Your take.
Yeah, no, this is the touchy one. And I say you can walk and chew bubble gum, right? People can be experts and learn the business. Granted, you know, in commercial, there's a wide spread, but it's almost like, are you condo? Are you PUDs? Or you luxury, right? There's always subsets too, like commercial real estate. But my caveat is always taking care of your clients, being an expert, making sure you are knowledgeable. You know the local markets, rules, regulations, right? Because they are different, the way you do things, especially development. But also, do you have the tools to underwrite correctly, right? To give a true, accurate data and a package to your client to say, this is a good deal, why? This is a bad deal, why? This is where the market's rental rates are. These are possibly new development projects coming into your market that could impact your rental rates. So, you know, when we always say, it's not that you can't or shouldn't, it's to be an expert of whatever you do and have the tools to best serve your clients. So you're doing the right job for them. And I even said, you know, I refer out when I was doing commercial residential deals because I was not the best person. I would rather my client being taken care of, whether I get a referral fee or not, because long-term taking care of your clients, they take care of you.
Yeah. Well said, Jim. Thank you for that. And Sharon, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And that, hey, if you can't be that expert, whether it's commercial to residential or residential to commercial, maybe refer it out and look at it, right? So do you have anything to add on that?
Part of what we want to be part of is being professional realtors, and part of being a part of a profession is there should be some standard of care to the people you work with. I think in residential, there's a very clear code that's developed over time. There used to be ways that you think somebody will sell you a swampland in Florida. We now have rules about the accuracy of what you share, whether or not you have permission. Commercial real estate is behind that times in that element. There is not the same code of ethics, and it is buyer beware. So there are a lot of ways with commercial, if you don't know what you're doing, they may not help you. And you could be liable for $1 million mistake. So if we really want to be part of something that's a profession, we need to govern each other and ourselves to only do things that's within our sphere of competence. And if you sell the $50,000 piece of land that you can't figure out why nothing is on this one corner that looks like it's got asphalt, it might have been a gas station, and not disclosing it used to be a gas station could be $1 million mistake to you and to the next owner. It may just be a $100,000 transaction. It might be $1 million mistake. So a lot of those things, you want to be known as a professional who does things to the highest standard, just like what Jim was saying. And so you really need to be careful. When I first started commercial real estate, everybody told me it takes at least 2 years working with another broker to have experience enough to be a commercial broker. Why 2 years? I mean, you could take a 90-day training class, a lot of things. Because in commercial, a lot of the cycle takes 6 months to a year. Probably your deals take 2 years. So if you go all the way from acquisition and testing and zoning and planning before even you start building, you are 2 years in and you still haven't started building on it. So if you only think you know it and you've done a little bit of something, you're pretty dangerous for yourself and your office.
Yep. Good.
Just to press on that, I just had a purchase agreement signed today with a 250-day due diligence period, and then a 180-day closing period with extensions. To me, that's never closing. You don't spend that money, because my life's gonna change before that.
Right.
I tell people, why would you want to? I mean, the low-hanging fruit that you think you're missing on both sides of it, I mean, it's just not worth your time. I mean, by the time, I don't want to work 7 days a week. So you guys work nights and weekends a lot of time. I work days. I don't want to work nights and weekends. And so, I mean, just the reality of it, why do you want to work that so hard? I give away, people will call me and say, will you list my house? No, I don't. I mean, it's great money, but I don't want to change my life to sell your house. And I don't want to go back and, so I think it's just a reality check. It's not worth your time on either side. So I would hand it off. One thing I do say is find one person you're really comfortable with that will not only take your job business and give you some sort of referral, but they'll also walk you through it. And there's nothing wrong with learning it and understanding the conversation for your clients so that you can refer really well out. But I wouldn't chase it at all if I was going to do it half-ass or part-time.
Yep. Good.
Sorry.
Good. That's all right.
Okay.
We can edit.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Curt, back to you again. I'm going to bounce it right back. How many times, how often are you seeing residential agents ask you to do a referral on the commercial side? So
there was a while where I was getting a dentist all the time, or someone, they just sold a house to a doctor, they just sold a house to somebody that was doing it. I'm seeing it less than, and I don't know if it's in my inventory in my world. I hammer pretty hard on my niche. People don't know me as send me whoever commercial user you have. If it doesn't have the word Westfield on it, they're not even thinking of me.
Right.
I see less and less of it, but I know it's out there. I mean, it's a big dollar amount that I know brokerages or the daddies at the brokers are saying, go pick up that business. So you're hearing about it. I'm sure it's tempting, but I don't get the referrals as much as I used to. Maybe I did a bad job.
Hey,
they go to Sharon.
I don't know.
Sharon, how many are you seeing referrals wise?
I actually haven't counted lately. I think everything with COVID has changed.
Sure.
So I get regular referrals from residential brokers, and I will sometimes team up with residential brokers or pass other referrals on. I think I've done this long enough. I kind of have a good sense of what I can do and who else would do it better, and I'll tell people I think this is where you belong.
Delegate it one way or the other, yeah. Yeah, that's smart. So just over time.
The smaller little, not smaller, but the little office users or the chiropractors that COVID changed that habit, and that conversation's not coming up as much. So for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Jim, how you doing over there, man?
Good. I have a lot to add. So especially since the referrals, running a lot of different trade groups, they're usually multifamily, not so hard. Most people do it. They try to do it or hopefully refer or learn from a commercial agent's leasing. You got to be more careful. You could do a small lease as a favor. You don't read the title reports. There's easements. There's other things. You could be liable. So my thing is there are good referrals as we are setting up, since we're corporate, not franchise, and working with as many people as possible to really serve our industry. We do get a lot of referrals, but obviously you need to underwrite, you need a vet. It's not you hear at a cocktail party, I got a billionaire client. Well, you got to make clients jump through hoops to test them. Do you have proof of funds? Are you in a 1031 exchange? Have you bought this product before, right? You got to really test them and ask them. And I know a lot of people don't want to do that, but by vetting them, there are opportunities. And I'll say a lot of the biggest ones are business opportunities. Even commercial brokers don't want to touch business off, right? Where you're selling a business, bulk sale for those that are in title. And those are the biggest ones that I see from residential, commercial, referring is these business opportunity brokers. But within our company, I always say, as long as you are active with the agents and reaching out and trying to provide service and knowledge education, you will get referrals. You just got to vet them, make people jump through hoops, and then really define, is it a 10%? Is it a 25%? Is it a 50%? Or hey, as everyone said here, don't waste your time, because time is all you have. Spend it the right way. Don't chase your tail thinking you're going to get a huge $1 million, $2 million paycheck when we know it's just pie in the sky, smoke screen, no deal there. So, that's what it is to be an expert. We can look at it and just tell you if it's a go or no go pretty quick.
Awesome. Thanks, Jim. And I'm going to come right back to you with our next question too. So you mentioned early on collaboration. Where are you connecting with other leaders throughout the commercial industry?
This is a good one and great timing. It's convention season. So CCIM is coming up. That is a great one. I would suggest for anyone interested in commercial real estate to join your local CCIM chapter. There is a national convention in Chicago, but that's the first way to plug in within your local market with CCIM. And that is more specific on underwriting, net present value and other kind of technology, but the network you can get into. But then there's SIOR, Society of Industrial Office Realtors, right? Because back then they were called realtors. We don't like to be called that as much now, but they are some of the biggest and strongest brokers that they had to produce 400,000 gross production over 3 years, SIOR. And then there's ICSE. They've changed. They used to be, with these shopping centers, and now they changed their names. But ICSE is a big one. SIOR, CREW, Commercial Real Estate Women, BOMA, Buildings Office Manager Association, and some of the other ones. If you're interested in property management, IREM, Institute of Real Estate Management, also NAR Commercial, a great way to plug in because they have partnerships with everyone else. So I think these are the things you could do, is joining the local chapters and seeing if this is of interest to you, taking some of the courses, making networks and friends so you can build this system to see, do you want to do residential? Do you want to build a referral system, or one day make the plunge and just be a commercial broker? But a lot of networking, and this is convention season for all the commercial trade organizations.
There you go. Jim covered a lot of information, right, on that. Sharon, what do you recommend? How do you connect with other leaders?
He just gave you the complete
I know,
list
right?
if you wrote that down. I think he got them all. Of those, actually, there was only one that I'm part of that you did mention, and I'm part of ULI, Urban Land Institute. They do more development, but also they do very thoughtful research projects on types of development. I actually got invited to be in their diversity program, diversity scholars trying to look at making more equitable development choices in Indiana. Great program. Actually, they're probably looking for new people in that this fall. I'm also part of ICSC, the International Council of Shopping Centers, he mentioned. And then Indy Crew has been my go-to networking group, but it's for people supporting women in commercial real estate. We are kind of a minority still in a lot of places, especially in Indiana. It can feel that way.
Okay.
So it's a great networking group.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks for adding those on there too. Curt, anything that these guys didn't mention?
I'm oversimple. I'd oversimplify this. I'd look at whose sign I drive by every day. I'd call them and I'd say, hey, can I take you for coffee? I don't have any acronyms with my name, no initials, no nothing. That's not a good or bad thing, but I would find someone local that I can connect with and become their friend, and that's how I would do it. And ask them questions. Share your stories to get their question. Ask them specifically, how can I refer you business? Because I think one of the disconnects is how to refer the business. Because just because you think you have a commercial user, I'm so specific, you're not going to give me 99% of your referrals. But Sharon may be in the place you normally give them. So ask these people, go meet them. If they say, if you meet the Curt Whitesell that says, I only do Westfield real estate, say, okay, great. Next time Westfield Real Estate, I'll think of you, but I got to meet someone else because I get all these investor referrals for Carmel, Indiana or something. So I would just call someone, make a friend.
There you go. Hey, that's good. Right. Making friends it works, right?
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Good. Sharon, on this one, how do you feel? You've seen a lot in the days and age of real estate changing as a whole. We're now very social media heavy. How do you feel about LinkedIn? How do you make connections there? How are you using social media?
Well, so for commercial real estate, I think in residential, because I think a lot of people here do residential, I think almost any media can be used and it is appropriate. I think on commercial, a lot more of the people you're working with are professionals that I probably mostly use just LinkedIn. I do have a KW Commercial Indiana Facebook page that I do commercial postings, but I do not do a lot of the other social things just because it blurs who's the person, or like I've got right now something that I've got listed by the West Indianapolis Development Organization. It's a governmental group. They don't want it out just so that everyone sees it. So it's more tightly controlled how I expose that. Okay, good.
Curt, I'm going to go to you because I see you on social media, whether you're in a barber chair or whatever, but yeah.
It's too much. So I started as an independent. I didn't have a brand, but today I still don't buy advertisement. I use social media. To me, I don't do big corporate real estate. I'm not chasing the office user, or I have a story to sell though that's very specific, and so I think it's been great with social media. When I first started, like in 2010, most of you are familiar with Grand Park. I had a listing of ground on the north side of Grand Park, and I put it on Facebook, and it sold on Facebook in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So I guess it's worth it to me, right? And what I'm doing. It's not worth it to everybody. But I think you have to stop. If you're not using social media yet, you're 15 years behind. But if you're using it, I think you all have to be strategic about it and think about what each one I use differently. LinkedIn, I connect with. I constantly comb it for potential clients and contacts. Facebook, Instagram, that stuff, I just tell my story. It's for branding, and I get why some don't like it, but to me, it's my audience. It's the only way I get out to my people. So
it works. Good for you. I mean, and that's why I like that question, especially for you too, because I see you out there. So yeah, well said. Jim, how about for you? How important is LinkedIn and everything like that, social media wise?
Yeah, no, LinkedIn is very important. So, make sure you are keeping it up to date, working on it, connecting with people on LinkedIn. There is business, there's opportunities. Try to be a thought leader, writing articles, maximizing it. But there are many pathways, I always hate to say it, but whether it's Twitter or maybe even TikTok or Instagram, but how you project yourself is, once you put it out there, a lot of times you can't take it back. How do you promote the listings or the opportunities or just being a thought leader? I think individually to brand yourself, brand your company, it is so important, but just be very mindful of what you put out and how you put it out. But I think in this new age, and I would say you got to learn from residential. They are light years ahead of us. Not everything is applicable, but a lot of things are very useful. And it's just who has the courage, in a way, to be the first ones to use it, because one day it will catch up. And it does take time to build LinkedIn and all your social media and your following. But I would say personally, start now, work on it. Just be very respectful, mindful of what you're putting out there, because you can't take it back a lot of times. It's out there in the universe.
This is true.
And actually, I had one other way that I use LinkedIn is I use it as a research tool. It may not make me make a buying decision, but before I go out with a buyer that says they want to look at some $2 million building, I'll Google them. I'll check what it says. I'll see if I can find some information. But also, if they Google you and find you don't have anything online, or you never posted your photo on the basic profile of your company or anything else, I assume we're not working on the same standards. So I do find you may not sell something, but people will check out who you are, and it depends on the age group which media they'll check. You know, younger people may check you on Instagram or Twitter. I'm not there, but I am on Facebook and LinkedIn. So it just depends on what it is. You need to have whatever presence is correct for your business.
Love it, love it. Curt, I'm going to shift gears a little bit on the next question too. And then you guys, we've got just a couple questions. I want to open it up to you guys in just a little bit. So get those thinking caps on and get ready to ask all three of these wonderful people some questions too. What's one area of commercial that you would invest in right now, and why? Would it be retail, industrial, multifamily, office space? What would work for you?
I mean, honestly, it would be, this does sound like a stupid answer, but it'd be anything that would cash flow with debt. Anything that you could use debt to pull equity out on a regular basis that someone else is paying for is good commercial real estate. If you have cash, I would be looking for opportunities in distressed, like at office markets or small, distressed retail centers that need improvement. I like the lipstick and makeup idea, where buy something that you can do added value. But the ultimate, you got all the money in the world, commercial development ground along busy roads. You buy hard corners, you buy something with a little property on it that'll pay the taxes. That's what you invest in right now in my head for the biggest return.
Love it, love it. Sharon, you got something
maybe
your 2 cents real fast.
I'm maybe more a contrarian. I think actually there's a MIBOR report that came out about 4 or 5 years ago on housing in this area, and it talked about how most people in Marion County needed to live in a house priced below $300,000. Still, our market builds everything $300,000 and over. So I see tremendous need for more affordable housing and ways that we've built housing that is inherently non-sustainable over a long run. And even the concept of a married couple with 2 kids in the house, it's a 4-bedroom colonial. Most families now are one mom with 1 kid, somebody else that's only got 2 older kids that have come back, or a lot of single people or seniors that are living alone in very big houses. So we need to rethink through affordable housing, mobile home parks, and other places that are inherently sustainable on a teacher or firefighter's salary or your kid's salary, to actually be able to have housing that's equitable for all. So I'm really interested in more equitable housing opportunities.
Nice. Good. There you go. Get after it there. Jim, a little tweak on the question for you, sir. Do you see, from your perspective, a lot of foreign investors in the U.S. market currently? And how's it impacting commercial real estate as a whole?
Jason, so yeah, absolutely. People are hovering around looking because of the strong U.S. dollar flight to safety. We see this last time, and almost every other time there's some instability in the world, right, with our currency. It's almost like with the higher dollar, why come here? But they are looking for opportunities because it is a hard asset hedging with the U.S. dollar. So it is opportunities that people are looking right now about broken development projects or trophy projects, right? Really just to hold their currency, hold their amount of their equity of safety. Some people are not even looking for a return. They just want that safety of principle to be here. So it is important, and I do see a lot of money coming back, or at least looking, right? They still want to look for that opportunity, but they know coming from a different country, they know they're going to pay a little more because they're not in their local market. They may not be the first one to have that opportunity. But there also is now EB5 coming back in again. So everyone's looking about how do you structure, regional centers and everything else. So money is out there internationally. They are looking. It is great to join like a FIOPSI or a CIPS for those in NAR and others, right, to stay in touch because there are money looking to come in. And sometimes I like the contrarian part, looking opportunities because of strong US dollars, there's opportunities to go outside the US to find it. It's just, can you trust that local market? Do you have the right people working with you? Do you have the right government stability? But there are these opportunities, as I saw once in Toronto, when the oil crisis, currency crisis hit a while ago, there was that huge opportunity you could have bought in Toronto, 35% below market in downtown Toronto. So it's just, where are you working and the time horizon to find these opportunities? But networking, building these relationships, especially international, they are looking for opportunities inside, and still they are looking for single family homes too. So there's a lot of opportunities internationally coming into the US.
There you go. Love it. One more question to wrap this up for everybody here today. We talked about it, and we get it with commercial. Hey, it might be a little bit longer, but where do you guys see that forecast, that 3 to 5 years for your particular product type? Sharon.
So like, where do we see things going?
Yeah.
I may be a little bit more of a pessimist. I think election years, we have a very controversial election that will be coming up in the near future. And usually when there's times of uncertainty, the market for real estate is uncertain, interest rates are uncertain, and a lot of people say, I'm going to wait to make a decision. I think there'll be lots of opportunities, but I think there'll be a lot of hesitancy too. We've seen a especially enthusiastic time with a lot of unusual changes with COVID. I think we'll see a time that it goes back a little bit more towards normal, and you have to work hard and do the work to make things happen, and there'll be lots of work that happens, but it may not be as easy.
So we got to grind and hustle, right? In every facet.
Yeah.
Yep, I'm here. Curt.
I agree with all that. I think in my particular area, I think it's going to mature a little bit. There's going to be some density. There's multifamily is going to really take off and backfill a lot of the space. In 5 years, though, I mean, when you're in a spot like a place that I am, retail drives everything. They'll pay anything for rent. They just want the space. So I think we will continue to see new development. I think politics has a lot to do with it, local politics, so we'll see as that stuff plays out. But I think it may just slow things. We might have a slower, which I hate, due diligence process. We'll be on the 3-year mark on my deals, but I think it's going to keep going. I don't see it dropping much in my space. Maybe some costs drop, but I think it'll charge for it. But multifamily.
There you go. Excellent. All right, Jim, how about you? Where do you anticipate everything going in the next 2, 3, 5 years?
Yeah, and I was actually on a panel internationally talking about global markets. A lot of instability globally, right? Supply chains, we had to work through a lot of issues. And unfortunately, I think things are going to get, in a way, worse before better. We know we tapped into our strategic petroleum. I think it's on the news again today. And of course, yes, politics, US politics does drive. November will kind of give us a good guidance, depending on who wins the elections, whether the House or the Senate. So that is going to matter, right? But there are drawdowns of our strategic reserve as we see oil prices going up, which is affecting everyone's budget and cost, and it really affects everyone. So, we see it kind of getting, in a way, worse because commercial is always a lagging versus the stock market and residential. And even watching Ray Dalio, who spoke in Korea with me on this event that we were at, was really saying pain is probably 2024 that ran Bridgewater. So there is, who knows? You got to watch it. You got to monitor. There's no exact, that's why there's every economist, 20 economists will tell you 20 different things, right? So you got to just watch it. The election is very important. Watching interest rates, watching the oil, watching unemployment, if they are going to lay as many people off that people are reporting, and just the guidance from FedEx and many other distributors showing that their drop was a third, basically a third from their revenue forecasting. That hasn't been done in over 20 years. So some of these indicators of slowdown is important to kind of read the tea leaves, watch and monitor. But many of the money is just wait and see, unless they're occupiers that they have to buy it because they need it for their business. They're being very patient and cautious to make sure, it's not gambling with their money.
Great. Great way to wrap that up, you guys. So I'm sure you guys have questions. Who's got some questions out there? Josh.
Question in the back here. Josh from Guys Realty. Thanks, Jason, for having us today. Great panel. Everybody's very knowledgeable. Question for you. I'm getting ready to represent a chiropractor on a retail space, and I do very little commercial, mostly residential. And I'm curious, with the shift in the commercial market, are you seeing a little bit more flexibility from landlords on concessions, whether it be free rent, tenant improvements, reduction in rent, those types of things? Is that happening, or are we not there yet?
What location?
I'm looking in the McCordsville, Guys, Lawrence, Fishers area.
So I would say right now, Fishers has weathered the office storm fairly well. I think there's some softness in other markets, but what tenants don't see is the pain on the other side. If you've got a vacancy and you have a bank wanting to see how well you're getting a new tenant in, or it will cost you very much, there are a lot of other people that could be part of that decision. And unless they own it free and clear, and most landlords don't own them free and clear. So it just depends. I think a lot of landlords have their hands tied. There are some that may own the building that have a lot more flexibility.
Does that help you? Yeah.
If you don't mind, always ask. It can't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
Don't be too aggressive and insulting, but you got to ask, because just tell the story and ask, finding the best light of working together. And I think if you do that, people will appreciate and see what they can do, right? You got to ask.
There you go. Easy enough.
Just for Jim, on a national level, I know some people, obviously the last 18 months, have been buying multifamily at 3 to 4% cap rates. Do you see that going higher in the future, or what do you think that is?
Yeah, so with the cap rates, obviously we're already seeing that happen. And just like what happened last cycle, there is a readjustment, right? Rental rates, what is the new pricing? So this is a very interesting time. Interest rates. So a lot of people that used to buy, let's say, triple net deals, they're not great anymore. It's like buying bonds, right? As interest rates start going up, those prices are starting to come down. So, what is going on is we are seeing the cap rates kind of going higher. But the problem is we're going in this really transitional time where sellers are not trying to bring their price down as much as they should, or are playing kind of games to make it look like they're getting the kind of rental rates and whatever they're getting, but they're not moving it yet. So I hate to say this, but there has to be sometimes more pain in the market and what they're feeling, or desperation, before things get adjusted. So we are going through this, I would say, 1 or 2 quarters of readjustment of commercial real estate to really understand, and the elections are really going to tell us. So right now, I do look at higher interest rates, higher cap rates, because you do need to sell your property, but not everyone's there yet. I'm just saying not everyone's there.
Good. Awesome. Other questions? I saw somebody else's hand pop up. Yeah.
Yeah, one more. This has just happened recently in the past 2 or 3 months. So I do commercial lending, and I've had something like 146th and Gray Road is one property, some land right in front of Costco over in Castleton was another one. But basically, my husband got in charge with the broker who's leasing the space, and what we're running into is the seller, which we're actually property managers out of California. They would say, well, like on one of them made an offer for 1.6. They're like, we won't sell for anything less than 2. So get everything worked out, send over a purchase agreement for 2. They're like, wait 30 days, right? We won't sell for less than 2.5. Sell for 2.5 or make an offer for 2.5. Then they're like, we're not going to sell it. We're going to lease the space. And then that land over in Castleton area, same thing. Won't sell the land. Will allow my customers to develop on top of it, but do not want to get rid of the land. Are we seeing a lot of that?
I think one of the things that is hard to know is who is the owner and what do they typically do with a great corner and a great location. So somebody that buys around Costco, you know, even the question is, do they own 10 parcels and do they usually do triple net leases all around Costco? Or is it a REIT? So they may have a very different long-term plan than one guy who owns it and would just like some cash. And so I think you need to understand who's behind that and ask some questions. What does the sale usually look like? And I have worked with some people that they'll talk about selling and then they don't. I've given one person the offer, I've called it a miracle offer, and he said, I'd only sell if I give my 2.5. We gave him 2.5. He has not yet signed or agreed that now he will do that. So it's not a slam dunk that everybody always needs to sell something vacant. And Jim probably has some great comments on that too.
Yeah.
I think when you were making, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt him, but
Yeah.
I'm going to. When you're making those decisions, you got to think about their replacement too. So
Yeah.
good investors, real commercial, big investors never cash out.
Yeah.
And so when they're to sell that, now they have to find something, and it just got real expensive if they can't find something.
Yeah.
And so their opportunity is on that property. It's also a result of cheap money. If someone has a 1.5% interest rate on a piece of ground and they're sitting on it, all they're going to do is pay taxes and have to refinance at a higher interest rate somewhere else. So I think that the back end of it is a lot to do with it. It's going to be a lot to do with that for a while.
Jim?
With this on real estate, try to work on exclusives because at least you know they're serious. Some people are just fishing, and it's opportunity because a lot of commercial are off market where you're looking for sites and you got to play the game. And unfortunately, everyone that comes out later saying, oh, you can get more, right? Once they get kind of an LOI, an offer. And we hate that, right? Because they keep pushing the market and playing those games. So, a lot of times, depending on your client's needs, working on exclusives, but sometimes fishing. But this is the problem where they keep moving the bar on you and just they have no motivation, right? To, in their mind, trying to get the most out of you. And sometimes we know what happens. They hit the top of the cycle, the market starts shrinking. Oh, yeah, come back. But already, the market turns. So it is that unfortunate game that everyone has to play when it's not exclusive and you're just doing a, kind of a, just a buy-side offer.
Awesome. You guys have given some awesome information. So thank you all for, participating and bringing the knowledge and bringing some energy as well. And you guys all get some great nuggets of information? Yeah, all right. Well, hey, I wanted to let you guys know we're going to keep on doing some events. Coming up October 24th and 25th, we have a fabulous commercial symposium. So if you want some more information, get with myself or Michelle, and we'll give you the details on that. November 2nd is our next live and in-person event, so I want to see all your beautiful faces there yet again. We are talking about how to build an effective team. So if you're looking at whether it's in commercial, residential, and you just want to grow and build, let's talk about it. It's going to be awesome. And then coming up December 7th, we're going to create some momentum. It's called Momentum. We're going to get rolling into 23, and we're going to make things happen. So we want you guys to continue joining us. We appreciate you all for coming in and enjoying some great leadership today. Panelists, Curt, Sharon, Jim, thank you guys again for your time out of your all busy days and helping us get educated. So thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time. Awesome.